everyone, welcome back to the Rapport Agency podcast. This is the final episode of the year, and in the past I've done a Wrapped, similar to the Spotify Wrapped, but for my year. But this year I wanted to keep it simple and streamlined because it's been monumental, and it's been a bit since I've chatted, so I'm so happy to be back. Thank you for coming along the journey with me, and I cannot believe we are going on to season 7 of this podcast. I feel like a whole nother person since when I started and even since last year. This year has been transformative in so many ways, and I'm going to be going over my mindset shift and the 3 things I'm leaving behind in 2025 and then what I'm taking with me into the new year. So the first thing is that I'm excluding a mindset that I used to always be obsessed with. The idea of execution versus creation and how that is so intertwined sometimes, but in my masculine energy and in my execution mode, I was just go, 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 check a box, what's next, what's next, what's next, and all those beautiful actions, habits, consistencies got me to this beautiful place this year, but honestly, it was exhausting. And I think we're all feeling that more than ever for some reason, post-COVID, post-hybrid work, getting back into the office. Like, it can be tiring, and the amount of effort that it takes to show up and get out of bed even is huge. But then you have to pat yourself on the back for that, of course, but I realized in my life that I was always in action mode, in doer mode, and I didn't save enough time for myself this year to be in my creative space. So what I'm leaving behind this year is always having the need to feel like I need to be in execution mode constantly. I think silence, peace, restitution is really important in order to recharge and get more into my creative mindset. I honestly shifted away a little bit from this podcast this year so that I could focus on executing for my business, which did pay off. The ROI was there. I hired an amazing virtual assistant. I hired my sister, who's been helping me for Rapport Agency, and I grew the business 4 times. But then in comparison to years prior, where I was constantly in creativity mode, maybe the monetary aspect wasn't there, but I felt a lot more fulfilled. But I realized the biggest return on investment for me is when I strategize in my creative mind, and then I get out in front of the right people, in front of the right times, with the right energy, so that I can get the biggest return on investment. And I think this was a really amazing lesson to learn this year, because I have really enjoyed my feminine flow and enjoyed the fruits of my labor that have been happening over the past 26 years. And I feel like I've really focused on the experiences and the friendships and the spaces and places that really have fed me life. And in return, I feel like I've been able to be present and be slower, which is beautiful. I've also been go, go, go in a lot of ways, and I feel like next year I'm really going to prioritize not always feeling like I need to execute something to feel productive. A lot of times silence is productive as well. The second thing I'm leaving behind in 2025 is my purpose shift, because I always felt like I needed to check a box and get to my vision, because I am a true visionary, and I think a lot of people can relate. I feel like I'm always living maybe 10 steps ahead of myself for a beautiful reason. That's why I love selling. That's why I can sell a vision, I think. But it comes down to what is the next step? What is right in front of me? But this year my mindset shift is in what can I give? What can I give to this scenario? What can I give to myself in order to feel fulfilled, at peace, and at rest? So it's not coming from this egocentric place. So I found my authentic voice from all of that. In order to understand what my purpose was and the fact that I wanted to create beautiful relationships and rapport with people, hence my marketing rebrand, I really understood how to show up as an authentic person and have a specific niche where people could connect with me. I think people know LilyGrace Lifestyle formerly before Rapport Agency came out, and it was a lifestyle brand. With Rapport, it's bigger than me. It's about creating the ripple effect and really reaching out to people in relationships that build and create legacy. So I feel like creating that brand story this year really helped me focus on how I could serve my ideal client and viewer. So in the new year, or in this past year, I really invite you to leave behind your old purpose. And that might be really painful. I feel like I've gone through many iterations of myself in my early and mid-20s, but as I get a little bit older, I'm starting to understand what truly is important to me. Whereas before I wasn't quite sure, I kept trying on everything for good fit, but I feel like this year I've really started to align with what and who I want to be, or I wanted to be in the past few years. So between really leaving behind the need to execute and also leaving behind my old purpose of just doing and going and letting go of the old version of myself this past year, I'm really excited because I'm able to shed that version of myself and move on into 2026 with a new goal and a new alignment. So maybe one of the hardest things, and the third thing I'm leaving behind this past year, is people pleasing. I feel like I have been working on this my whole life, but this year especially, I had the awareness, thanks to therapy, yoga, church, all the above, that I was really able to understand when I was in that people-pleasing mode, and if I was showing up to something, if I was doing something, if I was really putting myself out for someone else, I was able to identify that. Whereas in the past, I would just do it and then burn myself out. But this year, because I have so many amazing things to balance with my new job, with my marketing. I also started some real estate as an agent, and I also have an amazing relationship and friendships that I all needed to balance, and like we all feel like we need to do. But I really have stepped into myself and into my confidence so that I could let go of the need to people please. And going into the new year, I'm really proud of myself because a lot of times because I'm an extrovert, I could talk to a wall, I could talk to thousands of people a day, but I feel like finally it's gotten to me in the sense of like, if I don't feel right in the room, or if I don't feel like I'm gaining something or feeling fulfilled in a specific space with specific people, I just won't put myself in that room. I always felt FOMO and like I needed to put myself in every space, in every place to get results, but what I realized this year is that slowing down and really strategizing on where I need to be in order to get the max return and the max fulfillment is amazing. Rachel, I work with at Boston Ice Bath, and shout out to her. She was on a couple episodes ago, and she's amazing. She not only helps me breathe, but she helps me get in the ice bath and helps me cope with certain tendencies that I like to do, whether it be not making time for myself, not learning how to breathe, or just understanding why I do what I do. Then on my last session, she mentioned that everything that you do either has a net positive or a net negative in your bucket. So if you look at your experiences and the people in your life similar to like a transaction, a debit or credit on your credit card, you can kind of tell like, okay, this person, if I go to lunch with them, I'm going to feel amazing after. And we all have the things in our calendars that are like, oh, do I really have to do this? Or I want to do that, but I'm not feeling great, or I'm not feeling it. I think we can all relate. So she said to color code it. I loved it because I wanted to take my list of positive and negative experiences and really take it a step further. And her suggestion of color coding this and really understanding if it's a net positive or a net negative experience is really important. To then schedule time in for yourself, for myself, because I'm really bad at doing that. If I have free time, like right now, I'm like, oh, I'm going to record a podcast. I'm going to vision for next year. I'm going to do my goals. I'm going to make my vision board. But I feel like I'm going to really intentionally next year focus on having time for myself so that I can recharge and not be in the people-pleasing mode. Anyway, that was a long way of saying that I'm leaving behind how not to people please. And I feel like something women just know too is that we always have a sixth sense And a lot of times if something feels off in your life, it probably is, so trust your gut. And even if you can't explain it, I feel like the biggest thing that I've learned in the past year is really just trust your gut. If something is not right for you, or you know that it's just not adding to your life, you need to suck it up and take action so that it's not draining your time and energy, because your time is the most valuable asset that you have in this life. So you don't want to waste it on people who don't want the best for you. And I feel like that is part of people pleasing of helping people, caring for people, all out of good intentions. We all do it. Instead of focusing on what can I get, it's like, what can I give in this scenario, whether it be to myself or to the person in front of me. So I feel like those three things, between leaving the execution mode in 2025, leaving my old purpose and having that shift this year, and also the hardest thing of leaving people pleasing behind, are the three things that I am saying goodbye to. And of course, it's very easy to catch yourself sometimes when old you pops up, but let me help you stay accountable. And the biggest thing I'm doing for myself this year is writing down these three things and then reviewing it either weekly or monthly or quarterly, or maybe all the above, in order to see if I'm holding myself accountable. And it's also okay to have a buddy to help you. Honestly, in my relationship this year, I feel like I've been able to be so open with him that I am going to have him be my accountability buddy. When he realizes I'm starting to burn out, getting tired, getting cranky, he really helps me understand, like, are you checking in with yourself? So it's really helpful to have someone help you. Definitely ask for help if you need it. But this is the exciting part. It's like, oh my God, what am I taking into the new year? I can't believe it's 2026. It's the year of the horse. And this past year was the year of the snake, which meant a lot of shedding, which was very interesting. I definitely shed my old self in a lot of ways, whether it be friendships, relationships, my old hair, my old job, my old brand identity. So much has happened. But because I'm living in my life, sometimes I forget how far I've come. So I want to invite you right now to really give yourself some self-love, because even though it may not feel like a lot happened this year, I feel like you can write down a few things that really did impact your sense of self, your sense of confidence, and your self-awareness, because the year of the snake was huge in letting go of that toxic energy. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast episode. Without you, I would not be where I am today. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and follow the podcast. And if you haven't already checked out my vlog formatted videos, please do. There I show exclusive behind the scenes on my lifestyle, my routines, my travels, friends, business, relationships, etc. And it's the more laid back, low-key version of the life. Stay tuned for more, and thank you so much again, and let's get back into this amazing episode. So, what am I walking into the new year with? Well, number one, I'm walking away from things that don't serve me. I feel like it was a huge year of change and letting go. I let go of my old job at Boston Modern Furniture. Now I'm at the total opposite of what I was. So it was a small business, me and her, and then we had a fabulous admin, Abby, but now it's a corporate company at Miller Knoll, and it's global, and there's 11,000 employees. It's a public company. There's so much reporting. Like, it's a very different culture and atmosphere, but both are good, just very different ends of the spectrum. And I'm so lucky to be continuously selling furniture to the people I love, and that is why I just love our industry. So if you're listening, shout out to you. And I also feel like this year a lot just fell into my lap. Like my relationship on New Year's Eve literally just came up to me, and then we started chatting. I did not want a relationship this year, and then it took off from there, and we are off to Asia in a couple weeks, which is so exciting. I let go of LilyGrace lifestyle that used to be so just formative to who I was, and everyone knew LilyGrace lifestyle as me. But then letting go of that and changing to Rapport agency really allowed me to grow a team. Like I said, my sister and my virtual assistant have really been a huge shift this year, so I could let go of the need to do every single thing and start hiring. And if you're listening, I am looking for a graphic designer and social media manager in the new year, so feel free to DM me or send this to someone, and feel free to reach out because I will be looking for that right person to help me grow my business. So I'm really excited because I walked away from old narratives, old people, old energy that left me feeling uncomfortable, and overall a version of myself that I didn't feel like I aligned with anymore, which was a little bit sad. I feel like a lot of things that you have to walk away from, it might be for the best, but it's the hardest thing you can do for yourself. But in the end, the best thing you can do for yourself. I truly believe that a lot of times the hardest thing is the best thing to do for yourself, because your future self is thanking you, but your current self is like, what the heck? I'm in pain. This is uncomfortable. Let me keep doing me. But I have to say, breaking a lot of my old patterns and people, places, and things that used to serve me really was painful, but then totally worth it in the end, looking back at this past year. So the second thing that I'm going to take into the new year is something that a guest wrote in. I asked you guys what you wanted to hear for the last episode, and I'm going to read it. In an age of perfected social media aesthetics, what is the value of an imperfect, evolving life at home? Does the pressure to be finished stifle creativity and connection? So this really has to do with relationships and growth in my head. And thank you so much for writing in. I think that really is an amazing topic to talk about. This year especially, I have felt other people feel so tired, so burnt out, so over it because of the doom scrolling and just seeing so much perfect for the past however many years Instagram has been a thing, and TikTok, especially since COVID, that it's almost exhausting. It's like we cannot keep up with it. I cannot keep up with it. And when all you're seeing online is the perfect relationship, the perfect Christmas tree, the perfect travel, we forget as humans that that's not real. These are highlight reels, and it's almost like forced that you have to fit in these ways, and if you're not, you're falling behind or you don't exist if you're not posting online. And I think it's so important to remind ourselves as human beings that life is ever evolving, and the beauty of having an imperfect life is what makes us human, is what keeps us connected. If we were constantly telling each other about our highlight reels, which a lot of times we do because that's the fun stuff, but it's almost like surface level. It's like, look at me, look at the fabulous life I have. But I have to say, when it comes to building relationships, the biggest relationships I've built is off of insecurity. It's off of the imperfection. It's off of the evolving personal development journeys that we're going through. I have to say, a lot of my closest friends know the darker sides of certain parts of my life and chapters, and going through relationships and going through breakups and all of the above. That is how you really create connection with people. So we have to remember, what we're seeing online, it's okay to take a break from it, and it's okay to realize that true life is not like that, even though it's hard. It's hard not to compare. Everyone does it. I get into the comparison trap as well. But if you really think deeply about who you are as a person and what your values are, and if your life aligns with what your values are and who you want to be, who cares where you are in your life? Who cares where you are in your timeline? Who cares what everyone else is doing? I have to constantly remind myself of that, but it's so true. And to the second part of the question, I do feel like the pressure to be finished does stifle the creativity and connection. What does being finished even mean? I think it does stifle it because I've always wanted to be done, like I was saying. But you really have to take your time to enjoy the process and realize things that don't happen overnight. And that's what I'm taking into the new year. So I feel like this idea of feeling like we need to look perfect, show up like everyone else, and be done very quickly is just so not rooted in the true reality. And this is a lot of what Samantha Newman and I talk about on Brand Ed. We talk a lot about how your personal brand and your authentic story is ever evolving. And it's so important to come up with this version 2.0 that you are this year, but how are you carrying that story into next year? What are the 3 points of connection in your storyline that people can relate to? What are 3 things that you struggle with? Are you able to be vulnerable with people in order to resonate and really grow your brand and business? So a lot of this I do feel is connected, and something that we should take into the new year is letting go of our need to scroll and doom scroll. I know it's so addicting, but the need to do that and having the awareness to be like, okay, after scrolling, I feel worse about myself, I feel behind, I feel lonely, whatever it is that you're feeling. And then write down the activities or the people or the things that you really want to focus on in order to fill your cup. Back to the thing that Rachel and I were talking about. So instead of scrolling, when you're catching yourself, it's like, oh, maybe I should FaceTime my friend. Maybe I should call my grandfather. Maybe I should go for a walk around the neighborhood with my dog and like talk to people and make eye contact. Even though I'm so obsessed with branding, marketing, graphic design, design in general, and all this online stuff, I invite you to step away from this. I feel like the most fulfilling parts of my life, sure, is doing this, but then talking to people about it. A lot of times I totally forget, honestly, I have a podcast, or I forget this, or I forget that. But then when they're in person and I feel their excitement or connection or relating to someone or thank you for opening up about your story, that is what feeds my soul. The third thing that I'm taking into 2026 is really enjoying the moment. I have never done that in the past very well, but I feel like this year I was so lucky to unplug in a number of different instances, whether it be on the weekend with my boyfriend and his cats, whether it be in Denver, Colorado, when we literally had no phones with us and we were just in nature, whether it be during the summer when we were swimming and going into the water. But I'm just so grateful that I was able to really resonate with the ability to just stay still. And I really want to take that into the new year and set aside specific time during the day to be present, to meditate at night, to walk and get sunlight in the morning, to really just reminisce in the beauty of my surroundings, because the best version of myself is the person who is present. And I feel like it's so hard to do, as I was just saying, because of online and everything's coming at us so quickly. But the biggest, most fulfilling moments in my life are the small ones where I'm being present fully with a person in front of me, not on our phones, eating a meal together, or just having a really amazing conversation or a hilarious laugh. I feel like those moments are the ones that I treasure and really fill my cup, and I hope they do for you as well. I feel like a lot of times being present is really listening versus or speaking over someone or needing to fill up all this space in the room. A lot of times the biggest moments of present, I was just literally beholding people. I went to the women's conference in Boston, and David Brooks wrote The Road to Character, and I walked into this fireside chat and I didn't know he was going to be there. And it was amazing because he was saying like the biggest part of the lack of human connection that we have is just making eye contact with someone. It's so simple and so human to do that, but we have gotten so distracted by everything else that we really haven't had the capacity to sit with someone and just behold them and just literally take in who they are as a person, their energy, their stresses, what they love, their passions. So I'm really gonna look forward to taking that into the new year. So thank you so much for listening to my last episode of the year. I hope you learned something from it. And whether it's you leaving behind something in 2025 or taking something with you into the new year, try writing things down. Try writing the 3 things you're taking, the 3 things you're leaving, and then review every quarter or at the end of next year and see where we're at. maybe I'll do the same in my last episode of next year so that we can see how accountable I held myself. And trust me, I'm not perfect, but I really appreciate your time and energy. I would not be who I am today without you guys, and I'm really excited to take you on the next adventure because I'm going to Asia and I'm going to create an amazing documentary-esque vlog to take you along for the ride. So if you like this episode, please like and subscribe. And also check out my show notes on www.lilygraceyork.com and follow me at Rapport by LilyGrace on Instagram for more content there on marketing and rapport. So thank you so much, and I hope you guys have the best New Year's ever.